Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Anime Ramble. Today I got for you Doron Chapter 2. Yes, I completely skipped over the second half of this name. Still trying to figure out how to pronounce it, but for the most part, you already know what this is about. What is going on? Well, for the most part, this chapter is really just showing a little bit more of Katsunagi and Dora's relationship, right? Dora, in his heart, he is a good dude. He just has terrible judgment, okay? The beginning of this chapter, we get this flashback of our Mononoke friend Katsunagi and how he keeps humans away from other Mononoke, but he runs into trouble from both the humans who fear him and the ghouls who hate him. So he really doesn't have much of a place to call home himself. Running into our main character Dora really helped him along, something he isn't used to because, flash forward, Dora and Katsunagi, they're talking on a pier to figure out what their next plan of action is going to be, yeah? Dora mentions that having him transform into a hat or bag gets in the way, so he needs to find something that is more discreet and won't get in the way during a battle. Keep that in mind because it's going to be important later, but in this moment you have Dora stating that his protection matters too, referring to the Mononoke. It's during this though that two samurai show up and they question Dora as to why he's there. Dora begins to panic, he's cutting off the samurai as he tries to warn him about the Mononoke that has been sighted in the area and he can't be on the pier, and Dora's like, how was I supposed to know that? And we get this panel on page 8 and it clearly says no entry, alright? This goes back to what I said earlier about him and having a terrible sense of judgment. The samurai eventually leave and Dora turns to see what happened to Katsunagi, and his ass ended up jumping into the water to avoid being seen. And this generally wouldn't be a problem, but this man can't swim. I guess he can only transform into inanimate objects, so transforming into a fish or giving himself gills would apparently be out of the question, at least what we know from this chapter. So after Dora saves him from the samurai, the Mononoke that they had warned them about attacks the two samurai, almost killing them. Alright, completely got the jump on them, blitz them. They clearly cannot be high-ranking Mononoke slayers because there was just no situational awareness. So after the Mononoke attacks the two samurai after they had just warned Dora about the Mononoke that was in the vicinity, this forces Dora to make a decision. Does he ignore them and keep his cover secret, or does he save them and blow his cover entirely? He chose to save them, and in this instance, he one-shots the armored Mononoke with Katsunagi after it transformed into a Basento, and it just fizzles away because that's what happens in this series. So afterwards, one samurai is unconscious. I believe that the other is essentially okay. The problem, however, is that he saw everything. The interesting part about this is that after Katsunagi saved the samurai, he showed genuine concern for the one that was unconscious and says that we need to get him to the hospital and get him help and that there's no time to waste, just completely throwing the samurai off because why is a Mononoke talking to me and being nice? They kill and eat humans. And Dora in this moment seemed to be the one that had the common sense, so he quickly grabs Katsunagi and runs off, but not before the samurai thanks him for his help. Now, this all happens at night. They get away and the next day pops up and we see that Katsunagi had taken the shape of headphones, right? So Dora's walking around, he's not in a hat, he's not a book bag, he chooses headphones. Dora says that this is more convenient than a hat or a bag because they can whisper to each other in secret when people are around, and I guess headphones are easier than a hat when it comes to talking, but I don't know, that's just me. But while they're walking and thinking that they're going undiscovered, the samurai chick we meet in chapter 1 is already running surveillance on these two at the end of the chapter, and of course they would, because Dora didn't cover his face during any of this. The samurai that saw him clearly got a good look at him, reported it back. So we'll see what happens when the next chapter drops. Dora really didn't take any precautions in that regard, and I get it, you gotta move the story forward, you gotta move the plot forward, but you can at least make the characters seem smarter than what they are. Maybe I'm just nitpicking, but you know, Dora's not understanding the severity of the situation that he's in. He does understand the severity, and then he doesn't understand the severity, or he doesn't care about it. He was talking about the protection of Katsunagi. Well, you need to take his protection into account. You took his protection into account with what he transforms into whenever you're walking around, but under no circumstances did you try to take into consideration, hey, if they see my face, they could easily track Katsunagi back to me because they know that I'm fighting with it. Furthermore, you didn't let Katsunagi get away by himself. You ran over, grabbed him, picked him up, and took off. So of course they're going to make the connection between you and this little Mononoke. His protection was not taken into consideration at all. I'm being very critical of this, but I mean, we literally just went from, oh hey, I'm thinking of your protection, to hey, Kasunagi, come with me, in front of a samurai. And granted, the samurai did thank him. I guess people don't hate Mononoke as much as they would seem. Even if you get saved by one, I would assume that you would still have resentment. But no, they like him. But you know, this samurai chick probably is not on that same page. This is probably an execution type of situation that's about to be enacted. We will know more next chapter. I have rambled on long enough. If you made it to the end, thank you. If you are new, go plus ultra and smash that subscribe button. Let me know you rock with the content that I put out on the channel. Like the video if you like the video, dislike the video if you dislike the video. Comment on the video your thoughts about what you think is going on. And was I being too critical of this series just now with the main character? I don't know. This is the main character, and I get, you know, he's a think first, ask questions later type of guy, but the man has to have some redeeming qualities about him other than his physical prowess, and I guess the fact that he's compassionate. Sure, we'll know more next chapter, but subscribe if you're brand new, and like always, and until next time, I'm out.